Okay. All right. I believe this is recording now. Yes, it is. Okay. Good, good. All right. Has anybody gone down a portfolio rabbit hole recently, scoping out stuff on ArtStation or anything like that? No? No? That's okay. I haven't made you. So it makes sense that you haven't. Um, have you at any point done that for fun? Maybe not recently, but like ever? Yeah, kind of. All right. Uncomfortable in it. A little bit. I'd say for a few years there, I would look up some folks and I would be like every other portfolio, by the way, you think you're better than me? Like I would be a little ugh, like it's just hard to close the gap, right? Of like where I want to be, where I was, how other people are performing. I'm fully aware of that discomfort. And the adult in me wants to tell you that that gets better, but it might not. And it didn't for me for quite some time, personally. And even to this day, I will look at beautiful portfolios. And I'm like, that's not have to be at that level. It really doesn't. Not to be professional. And yeah, that's your competition, sure. But you guys are probably not competing for the same roles. I mean, unless some of you are. And I do believe that with time and effort, you can absolutely bring your portfolio to that point. Like, look at how much growth you did in the last 2 years, 3 years, from where you started to where you are now. The answer is you keep going. Now, there's also some stuff that comes about that I do think hurt your chances when looking at portfolios. And I don't know, maybe let's take a look at a few and see if we could find any that maybe don't do such a great job. I was looking at cool stuff. Um, let's look up student because sometimes student work will come up. No. Junior, junior artist. Okay. Right off the bat, this is, it doesn't even look bad. I just don't know that I like that thumbnail. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Demo reel. Watch, it's actually fantastic. It's okay. Oh yeah, it's great. Great work. Um, let's see. This one here, this thumbnail right here is kind of bugging me a little bit. It's actually probably pretty good still, but anybody have an opinion, feel a type of way about it? This one right here. My demo reel junior animator. It is, it's cut off, right? Now, your thumbnail is your first impression. That's actually pretty important. Something to remember too, that like you're not going to be in the room with the people looking at your stuff. And I think it's a really valuable experience, maybe getting your portfolio reviewed as much as you can by people who don't know you, because you'll see when you find yourself talking about your work, you'll be like, oh, well, I got to explain this to you because you weren't there. And you start to realize, hey, welcome, what about your stuff is missing in context, right? This is like a I hate this projector. I really wish it was much brighter than it is. Um, Now, I've found too some stuff that happens like I don't actually know if I can like search for weak portfolio, something will come up. Oh, not helpful. 'Cause that's not weak either, but I would say that it doesn't give me a lot of context. But what I've noticed that a lot of students will do, and this will be because I require wireframes to be shown, is that you'll take screenshots in Maya. Ooh, right? Yeah. Looking right at you. No, I know a lot of folks that do that. They'll take screenshots in Maya. And it's like it's almost like we're just checking a box. We're just checking a box. So my practical advice moving forward, because you're not going to have professors anymore after like Tuesday. You're all done with professors for 3D after Tuesday. No more professors. You're all on your own, my baby birdies. You're gonna fly all by yourself. But no one's going to be telling you what you need to be doing anymore. No one's going to be telling you a nice structure or scaffolding or framework on like how to post and stuff. So, why do you guys suppose I ask for wireframes? Just a guess. Like, why do I make you guys show wireframes if I'm going to require that for your portfolio post? Yeah, yeah. I know your geometry is going to be clean because I know you guys, but who's going to see it? People who don't know you, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, little curveball question. Let's say you've got a prop that you materialed really well, like it looks really good. The wireframes are maybe not that strong. What do you do? Don't show the wireframes. Just show them the good stuff. Show them the goodies. A-okay. It's so much better to just not show wireframes than to check off the box. I showed wireframes because I was supposed to. If your wireframes are a little spider webby or dense in parts, maybe. Okay, okay. Now, well, if okay, let's say process is part of it. You want to show wireframes. Why might I have you share poly count? Show that it's optimized. Now, poly count matters a little less with characters. So if you do characters, you could go ahead and crank them up a little bit more. And they don't matter quite so much in every little bit of environment work. But where they really matter is prop work. Very important. A lot of props, especially in games, are going to have some sort of physics component to them, meaning they do have to be very optimized in order to render well so many times across the screen. If you're going to have them fly across the screen, or you're going to pick them up, or you're going to tumble them or something. So that's also part of it. Just kind of understanding your medium and knowing why you're posting these things will be helpful, right? So share poly counts if the poly counts are impressive. Show wireframes if they're clean and tight. Now, let's say you post a bunch of stuff. You've got like 5 or 6 assets out there, and you're noticing you're not posting your wireframes very often. What does that tell you? No? May Maybe topology is a study area for you, a little bit of a weak point. Um, okay. There's like lots of practical advice that we could cover, and I do want to talk about some of those things. That's a that's a choice. This is a weird prop, dude. Like, let's see. Hmm. You know what's really bothering me about Doran's work is that they're a very good sculpture artist. They're very good. Let's let's um let's beat up his portfolio a little bit. I I was bothered by, I think, the baby's thumbnail when I was looking through a whole wall of stuff. Personally, to me, it's showing me it's giving like, I don't know, ZBrush screenshot, BPR basic render. It's kind of showing a point to where they stop and they just kind of quit after that. I mean, all art feels pretty abandoned, but I'm kind of bummed out because it's such a cool and weird concept, which you wouldn't know it by the thumbnail. And I'd say his rendering is just a little on the rough side, but he's such a good sculpture artist, right? So, but just looking at these 4 things, what do you think he could do to pump up his presentation? Because it's not the work. The work isn't bad. Look at this thing on the thumbnail. It's the thumbnail. It's 30% of the thumbnail. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, I was aggressively agreeing with you. Okay. What else? Yeah. Yeah, on the far left especially. Now, it's not much better on the monitor, to be honest. It's got a pure black background. I don't want to say that there are hard rules like no black backgrounds and no white backgrounds. Usually no, usually no. But it's not to say that there might be a stylistic choice for it. Like I've seen it actually kind of work out really well. but I think you have to be doing a lot of other things really well for you to break a rule like that and it not be a problem. Um, all right. Anything else? Like, come on, guys. Yeah. Then I'll get you. Okay. Yeah. Right? Like, is that even a different piece? Like, it's a fourth piece to be named later, maybe? Like, where's the chisel sculpture of clay or whatever that is? Like, where's that? I'd like to see that too. You're right. A uniting maybe theme of their work would be cool. Yeah, because especially that he has a lot of like skull work. There's a lot of head work that he can do that you could probably bring consistency and just show a trend there. That's a good point. Yeah, Jacob. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Two, also when you zoom out, the the most attention is going to what I might argue is weaker piece. I don't know. I mean, we can talk, I think, opinions on that, right? But the skull and the hat, I say hat with a question mark inflection because I'm actually not sure. That's the only reason why I think it might be the weaker piece. I'm not saying it's bad work, but I don't have enough context. I don't have enough context for what it really is. And compared to the others where we've got a lot of grayscale and black background, we have suddenly a pink one on the thing that is having a hard time making sense in my brain right away. So what's really, really devastating is I think if we were looking at some people's work, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. I'll keep talking to them. Oh no, probably not. But what's really freaking weird about that, like instant reaction that I'm having, is that I don't know that I would call this work that much stronger. Not really. Not that we understand like very clearly the what how much work goes into each of these. And this is pretty impressive stuff. But what's so strong about this one versus Joran's work here? Because like, I mean, sculpting a baby's not actually very easy. Because like if you don't really understand the anatomy very well, it just look kind of weird. Because babies, when you look at them up close, are kind of weird looking. Okay, so because I like again, I don't want to minimize Joran's efforts here. I think that they're a very talented artist. We know that because we know how hard this shit is to model. And we also know how hard this is to model. But why does this feel so much stronger? Guys, I just like pulled this out of the air too. So I'm so glad this is working out. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Like a stylistic thing. Hmm. Yeah. 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 The thumbnails are definitely more considerate, aren't they? This is cute. They've got some stuff I would consider maybe weaker pieces, but like here's the thing. If they were going to show just the stuff that they did here and this was this was it, this shot in and of itself not that strong. But the context of where it's going kind of has it make some sense, doesn't it? Like this is where I see a lot of juniors making decisions here where like, well, I didn't model the whole area, so I'll just show the snow plow thing, the little snow drive car thing. That's it, just that. And then it'll be a turnaround and it'll be a wireframe and that's it. Hmm. Hmm. Do you, that wouldn't help here, would it? Not really, no. No. Now, no, so let's talk a little bit about like the ethics around showing work that is yours versus work that is not yours. It's kind of obvious in a way, like don't show work that's not yours. Uh, the trick is don't take credit for work that is not yours. Most of you guys who go off to get jobs will work on teams of other artists and developers and creators. You are not making everything. At no point should you put that on yourself. You are one human. You know how long it takes to make a thing. No. But what often happens is that you'll be working in a library of assets that you'll be pulling into, and now you need to make something unique that doesn't exist in their library, and it has to be consistent with the branding and the style of their work, right? Or if you're starting off as a junior in a generalist team that's very small and they're kind of broke and they can't quite afford to give you a full salary, so they give you part-time and you're working on a contract piece, happens all the time. But they do have an art budget, so they can pay you for maybe 2 days a week for a few months, plus like $400 worth of assets that you could purchase on the asset store. So now it's your job to take that money, get some props, fix them because they'll be busted. That'll be part of your job, and build whatever else needs to fit to make that a cohesive project. And that's how, with a 2-person team, you can populate a whole ass game in 6 months. Now, that means, let's say you have a project and they're not here right now, and you don't have access to the project and that other content. What do you do? Ideas? Ideas? No ideas? Okay. Panic? You can find environments that showcase a style, and then you can prop your work next to it and show them how you can make a cohesive style. Just what you don't do, just make sure you're clear on the parts that are yours, parts that you made, and then a context beauty shot. That's it. That's all you got to do. Part of the skill that I'm looking for is not just like, hey, do you know what a topology is? Do you know what a vertex is? Do you know what that means? It's also, hey, if I give you a problem to solve, how do you solve it? Show me that. Show me that visual. You're not gonna be in the room with me, remember? Okay. All right. Now, I love that we're looking at this person's art, because I really think that most of you guys could work at this level. This is about on par and caliber to what most of you can create. As a teacher, I'm like really proud having seen some of you never model a thing until 216 and then come out of this totally being able to hang with this. I believe that. Okay, let's look at some more. Oh, I like this too. A material post, stylized material. While I was learning substance designer, I'd really like it if they walked me through a little bit more stuff, a little bit more context. Art's good though, but like, what'd you do? Did you follow a tutorial? What did you learn? Where did you get stuck? I'd want to know more. Okay. 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 Devastating. That's so weird and cool. Just not finished. Weird and cool. Weird context though. A little bit more pull out. What is this? Okay. I think. Okay. Huh. That's better, maybe. This person's well on their way if they decide to keep going. Oh, this is a bummer. Um, 5 years ago. Bummer. I wonder what their stuff would look like if they kept going. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Okay. All right. All right. That's enough. That's enough beating up on Joran. Maybe he's got great stuff in other spots somewhere that we don't see. He's not on ArtStation. Now, how can we show some of this stuff that's not so screenshotty and ick-y? That's not going to give my recruiter the ick, as the kids say. Okay. Has anybody ever found themselves like, oh, I don't have the Maya files anymore, but I do have the substance file? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, let me show you some stuff. First off, let's turn this off. Let's pretend that I did this, but I don't have Maya, I don't have any of that stuff. I only have this, and I need the UVs, and I want to do some rendering, and I don't know what to do. Well, this is pretty easy. We could go to File and Export Mesh. Do me a favor and turn off triangulation. Triangulation does kind of hide a lot of topological considerations and decisions. Triangulation is also a really important process that happens in real-time rendering. The renders usually do it for you. So, if you need it to be triangulated pre-bringing it into, say, something like ZBrush, this would be helpful for you if you're going to continue to edit it in some weird space. But we don't want that. I actually want the quads. I'm preserving those. That's actually what I'm trying to showcase. So turn off triangulation. We'll go ahead and export this, and I'm going to export it as an FBX because of course I am. I'm going to send it to my desktop because I'm a hot mess. And I'm going to call this the SNES controller mesh, just so that I know what it is. Mesh exported successfully. Okay, now let's head into Maya. Spell it right though. I'm going to go ahead and import it, and then I'm going to show you how, for those of you that don't remember, how to render out the wireframes that we can bring back into Painter and create a material. One color material that is as you designed it, and one that is just the wireframe. There's actually a few different ways we could do that. We could take the wireframes and build a material in Unreal. That'd be faster. Let's do that. Okay. Whew. Does anybody have an ArtStation up yet? Yeah, I know you do. No? Nope. Oh my gosh. Some of you are really, really procrastinating on that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Does anybody really dislike ArtStation? Like I just don't like it. It's valid. Opinions? Any reason why you're not on ArtStation yet? Look at you, Angel. You're one of the strongest artists I know. Come on. You like having, you can have both. You can have both. Well, just also, ArtStation's easy. It's like a post. It's almost as easy as like Instagram in terms of how hard it is to post up there. Yeah, all right, all right. I do require it, but only because art directors, I've known a few who will be like, well, if you don't have one, I just won't look at you. And I'm like, all right, just also have it, guys. Have the website too. I do. Cool. New scene. All right. My desktop. Bring in SNES controller. There she is in all her glory. I might have even modeled this with some of you. I don't remember. Okay. Those wireframes are not bad. I do not have a lot of tightness or beveling or like, when I say tightness, I mean condensed geometry in some parts of it and then really low in others. What I'm really looking for when I'm looking for wireframes is I'm looking for like decisions being made. Now, let me tell you what I don't like about it, which is, by the way, not a habit you want to get into when you talk about your work. Okay, but while we're on it, I don't love that it doesn't follow a kind of rule I have in my mind around what I think strong topology should look like, and that is a balanced fishnet pattern of squares. I agree. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. However, I do like how I've chosen to distribute the geometry around the silhouette first and foremost, and then cut corners in every other opportunity I can, because what this shows me is that you're like, oh, you're really, really thinking about how you're spending it. So I feel proud of these UVs nonetheless. Okay, on that note, I'm going to pause for just a moment because I know you guys want to see this. Yeah. Woo. Okay. Now, does anybody actually remember how we can render out UVs from here? Anybody remember? No? Okay, well, that's okay. I'll show you again. Well, if you thought that we needed to go to the UV editor, you're absolutely right. We do have to go here. This is the shot that I actually need. But okay, don't take a screenshot of this. Because your monitor resolution is aliased and gross. And if I zoom in, notice how it gets tighter and tighter. So like that's not what we want, right? So instead, go to this little UV snapshot icon. Tell it the resolution that you want it to be. I got it at 2K because I want it nice and crispy. Nice and crispy. If you have that at a lower resolution, it'll get all aliased and weird, especially if you zoom it up on a nice high-res model. So like, oh no, that's not what we want. So to 2K, that's wonderful. I don't want a Maya if file. I don't even know what that is without Googling it. So we don't want that. We do want, though, either a JPEG or a PNG. I'm gonna use PNG. PNG is always safe to me. That's the one we'll use. You can actually select the color that you want the edges to be. What if I wanted it to be white? Yeah, white's fine. White's good. You can make it red, you can make it weird. With it being white, though, I believe I have some options with this that I'm gonna keep. Okay. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you choose a location that you'll find it. This is often skipped. You'll be like, I don't know, wherever it sent it. And this is not, I don't know, I don't want to go to campus documents, Maya projects, default images. No, thank you. I am going to send it to my my desktop because like I said, I am a mess. And that's fine. Ooh, we're going to name this SNES controller UV map. It is a map of my UVs. Okay. All right, apply and close. This part's a little weird because while I did apply it, there was no flourish or feedback. We don't actually know if it was successful or not. It probably was, but you want to check basically right away because there was no feedback. So there we go. SNES controllers. There they are. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, some of you are already aware of like where I'm going with this. Cool. You could do this. We could just bring the UV map right on into my assets, into my asset library. Just save it to the current session or the project. You probably don't need it for your whole library forever because this is very contextual to this model. And make sure that it is a texture. That is a texture type. Okay. Now, this part, I've seen this boo-boo where we bring it onto the thing and we're like, here, just add a color to it. That's not really helpful at all. Instead, what I'd like to do that, bring it onto your map. Color. Maybe I want to mask it. No, let's do the color. Okay. All right, so that's weird. It doesn't fit. It's just tiled at 5, so let's tile it to 1 instead. And then make sure that we got that snapped to 0. Honestly, this should just be set to 0. I keep hitting tab, and that changes the window. My bad, everybody. We don't want it rotated. We don't want it offset. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. And there they are. They're not pretty, though. They're not really very bright. Anybody have any ideas like what I could do to make that a little bit better? No? No? Oh my gosh, you guys are so tired. Okay, what was that? Roughness? Okay, you can do roughness. I would rather this be brighter though, like in the color channel. So a little trick, you could use a filter for levels, and then we can tighten up the levels in either direction. Oop, that you okay. So they are visible now. Sometimes what I like to do is I'll just duplicate it so it looks a little bit brighter. And now you can really see them. So this is one way. This is one way absolutely that you can use this as a way to show off UV wireframes. Now, as far as like showing wireframes is, you could render it out of here and call it a day. Some of you though might have seen some cool stuff where you're like, well, what if I like took a prop and I was like rotating it around and it was my material, and then it would like fade to gray, but it would show the wireframe instead, and you could like see the wireframe all the way around. That'd be pretty sick. All right, I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. It's not that hard. All right. Now, Unreal. Oh, I am gonna need to like export out these materials textures. I feel like this is rather incomplete for my taste, but it'll work. It'll work for what I want to do. So let's go to export textures. We know this process. No, we're not going to do Sketchfab. We're going to do Unreal Packed, not subsurface scattering. Yes. Personal taste, personal preference. No one's going to like, hey, I would have hired him, but use this texture instead. Like, that's not going to be quite the thing that'll make or break your portfolio. The bigger question is whether or not you feel that these are strong enough UVs to really show and demonstrate in this case. I tend to lean on a hierarchy of decision myself, and anything that leans towards more visibility or more accessibility, like more contrast, I tend to prefer that. So maybe if your textures are pretty dark anyway, like you have the dark asset, white wireframes will solve that just fine. But if your asset is kind of like a middle range of material colors and rendering, then the wireframe, no matter how light or dark it is, might just not hit that hard. So, case by case is how I approach it. Cool. All right, let's go from here. Gonna go to the desktop. Oh, 219. Let's do a new folder. We'll call this controller demo. Export. Okay. Cool. And then I'm going to do it again, but this time with the wireframe. Export. With wireframe. So it doesn't save over it. Got them both in there. Export. Okay. All right, let's prop it up. File. Do I have a scene in here? Now, this is a thing I've also seen a few people get a little hung up on. This is like where you're like, oh, I don't have access to the final scene render, all that work we did. Somebody has it. One, this is a great time to just share a copy of it to everybody and let you guys do whatever you want to that, because you're not really pulling it to the same location anymore, right? Or if you already have access to it and you guys are still developing and you're still like wanting to contribute to the space and we don't want to stomp on other people's work, make a fresh scene and stage your stuff. There's absolutely no reason in the world that you need to ever like bottleneck it into whoever has been building the space to prop up your stuff and render it for you. I've seen it happen on countless teams, usually at the student level, where it's like, hey, I really need this thing rendered, but you have the project. Can you get it to me? And then we just wait. That's not really taking agency over that space. And if you don't have the project, make a fresh project and bring your assets in and stage them and light them. No problem. You guys can absolutely do it. I have you do it like week 2 of 217. You guys can totally do it. Okay. So, I like to, let's see, do I have any scenes in here that I like, don't hate? I don't hate that. I hate that. Study. Early development on my study scene. Probably. Maybe this is fine. You know what? Might take my own advice and just make a fresh scene. Ugh. I made a horrible mistake clicking this level. Yeah. I made a boo-boo. Can I navigate? Oh, I can't even click into Unreal. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, early development of this. All to make a new level anyway. Empty level. Ugh, gross. Okay. I spelled it wrong. That's okay. All right. Let's drop in my UV map. It'll make sense in a bit. We're going to go to my controller demo, and I'm going to grab these three here, the wired, or the not wired, and I'm going to call this wire framed. Here we go. Think you see where this is going? And also, of course, the prop itself. Desktop. Port all. It's fine. Don't care. Cool. There she is in all her glory. First off, do a quick check on scale. Okay. When you're staging up a prop, the scale doesn't matter too much, except for if you have it a little too small, some of the camera settings might be harder to adjust because you have to zoom in the little like aspect ratios and stuff. So let's not like err on the side of just blowing it up to a larger size when you're doing this so that you can really play with the camera settings a little nicer. All right, so there we go. I guess let's make a material. We'll call this SNES underscore M for mat. Apply and apply. Double click. Let's hook it up. Color into color. Boop, boop, boop. Occlusion. I like to watch it go as I go. I'm sorry? Oh, you're right. Yeah, you do. Because it's going to be like, bleh, if I don't. Yeah, you're right. Save it. Oh, no. That's okay. In here, I can actually just like click off of it and then click back on it and it'll reload it. Yeah. Occlusion, roughness, metallic, normal bump. Great. Yeah. Let's put some light in here because obviously something. Now, this light does not look good. I'm gonna tell you right now, this doesn't look good at all. The lighting lesson is from a lesson long ago, but a quick reminder, having a point light, a bounce light, a fill light, these things will help with that space. You can use the environment lighting. However, that as a background is always pretty gross. There's just something about the default environment skies that make it feel incomplete. Like, I just needed a light in there. I'm checking off a box. We're going to want to try to fight that want and tendency to go to just like walking away from something a little too soon. So I'm going to show you a little trick. The HDRI backgrounds. You could technically use almost any image, but the HDRI 360 panoramas especially are pretty cool. These are pretty cool. Where we can take environment lighting from a 360 camera and have that be the fill light of an environment. And what I really like about this is you could take these photos yourself. You can illustrate some whatever because it doesn't matter. What we're going to do is we're going to blur it so much so that it's going to lose all its context. And all we're going to do is just steal the color from it to prop up our lighting. So I'm going to, I don't know, just grab one that looks cool maybe. Free HDRI maps. That one's very pink. This is very white. Man. Okay. You guys have to be careful because some of this feels also a little bit like oh, you know how like you could spend all day picking a font? I feel like you could lose yourself all day picking a sky also. But hey, you know what you should also check out? Fab. Unreal HDRI stylized skies. This could be pretty fun. Granted, they cost money, so maybe there's some free ones. Only show free products. Yeah, these don't look like HDRI skies. This one is a procedural sky. That's not quite the same. So I'm not quite getting what I wanted out of this. It's showing me free stylized stuff, but the skies are not going to be free. That's what that looks like to me. However, if you had some like cartoony skies for cartoony styled stuff and it fits the brand of your particular stylized work, just grab it. Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to grab one though, and I'm probably just going to pick something from the internets. These are fine. A free one is fine. This guy is calling to me. It's a mood that I enjoy. It's very warm. Ooh. Man, there's so many cool. Renee, just pick one and go with it. Because I'm just trying to show you how to do it. Just pick one and go. All right. So, save my scene. Put that into my prop presentation, prop staging map. And of course, we need to go to tools. No, I'm sorry, edit, plugins, HDRI, backdrop. Make sure this is turned on. I believe you might have to reset if you don't. So just make sure that you do that. And then once you've downloaded or you've received the file, yeah, there we go. Extract all. Gimme, gimme, gimme. HDRI file. This is the one we want, right, man? I'm gonna drag it on into my project. Now the HDRI sky right here. Let's close this out. It is going to be slightly different than a regular texture map. It basically has a bigger, wider pixel depth and a wider range of pixels, so we can have just more consistent lighting. But I believe if I go to place actors and I look for HDRI backdrop and I just click and drag this puppy in, I now have an environment that is going to light up my scene here. And this feels like a real environment, doesn't it? Just a little bit. Okay. Now, it's not very light, so I don't like that, but I'm going to switch this to this. We're going to increase the intensity a bit. And I want to say the size of this needs to be bigger. Yeah, size needs to be bigger. Woo, too big. Let's do 1,000. Let's make you 2. Pretty cool, right? Maybe 1. Maybe it was fine as it was. Okay. 5. Do I have a blur on here? I know that we can blur this. I want to make sure I do it here. Rendering. Maybe I blurred it manually. It's possible. Okay. Oh, we could do it with the camera. I just realized that. Yes. Okay, so let's do 10,000. And drop this down. Pull it away. Okay. Set up a camera. Cinecamera actor. Right click. Snap object to view. Let's pull it back a little bit. Put there. Okay. And on the camera. This is Pretty good thing to do. And add a level sequence. Yeah, we'll put in a prop. That's fine. Add that camera. There we go. And let's also make sure that it is rendering through the camera. There we go. Cool. Not great. Cool. I believe in the camera itself, I can adjust the focus to tracking on my asset. And we can play with some other settings in here. Excuse me. This is also bothering me. I haven't added the material to this other piece. Or I did, and it just doesn't look very good. Great. Hmm. Multiply. What was that? That background's not from Unreal. That's just a thing I found on the internet. It's the HDRI background. Let me darken this up a bit. Some of you have seen this trick developing your stuff recently. Mm-hmm. Okay. I would like to blur this image though. Can I blur you here? No. I think I have to do it in like Photoshop if I want to blur it, which is what I really want to do. It's okay. Close, 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 close. All right. Now, what I wanted to try to show you most importantly is that like how I can actually bring in the wireframe. And yes, the easiest way to do that would be to just swap out the texture, right? And then you can have the wireframe applied to this as you do your render from one point and then the other. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I feel like it might be cooler if I bring in my wireframe and plug it into the noodle soup that I have happening here. So we can do another multiply. Well, I do want to be able to control how dark it is. This is something that I enjoy doing. Unreal's frozen. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Okay, what is Unreal doing to me? It just stopped working. Oh, am I gonna regret this? Okay, no. Excuse me. Okay, that's a little bit better. Mm. Post-processing. Bring it all in. Bring it all in. Infinite. Bounds. That exposure is driving me crazy. Manual. Exposure compensation. Just better. Much better. Much, much better. Yay! Sort of. I'm going to pilot the camera a little. Okay. Now, back to what I was trying to do. In the material, what we could also do is we could do a little addition now on top of our multiplication. where what I'd like to do is I would also like to add the value of the map to the base color, right? So now it'll apply that wireframe very much like it did in Substance Painter, just directly onto my map here. And what you could also do, if you really wanted to, you could swap out a solid color here. If you're like, my material, I'd rather it be a flat color to just demonstrate what I want. And whenever I am showing wireframes, just on a personal note, I always keep my bump map on. Now, I don't I don't know that I actually necessarily intended to do that, right, in my life, but I would do it because I really wanted people to see that I accounted for all of that high poly work with my wireframes. That my wireframes being this, the bump map is still coming through, right? Which is often a disconnect about how why would be like, well, I don't want to remove all that wireframe because it doesn't like shade very well when I take it all off. And I'm like, I know that my bump map is saving the day. And I want to prove that I did that material work. So I usually leave the bump on myself. Okay. So, huh. Let's make this a little bit lighter. Just a little. But not much lighter. Oh, Jesus, that's all it took? Oh my God. Maybe I do want it like basically black. Black, completely black. Um, and I'm going to just I'm gonna add a roughness value to this that's a flat roughness instead of all that, and I want it to be like 0.1. I don't want it to be very, oh, I'm sorry, 0.9. Yeah. And this is just so that you can really see some of that bump. Maybe not, maybe more. I guess the answer here is fiddle with it until it feels like something you're comfortable showing from one to another. Okay. Now, this part is exactly what you'd expect it to be. What we're going to do is we can take that prop and we can give it an animation spin and just have it spin around twice. Render that video, right? And then swap out the material for the other material and run the same render without changing anything. We don't have to change another keyframe. We don't have to animate it a second time. But what it's going to do, it's going to generate two identical animations, one with the material that we want and one with the wireframe. Both. And I have two videos now, right? Okay, cool. So let's pump this out to be a little bit more, do 5 seconds. Let's do 10, cause let's do 10. I'm going to add my prop into my environment, my scene here at 0. It's at 0. Add a keyframe. A keyframe. I'm gonna say at 5 seconds. Why not? At 150 keyframes. We will add the rotation. I think it is, what rotation are you? You are, okay, on the Z. Pitch and yaw. 360. What is happening? What? It's fine. 150. 360. Keyframe. No, I want you at 0. Okay. Over here. 360. Add a keyframe. Oh. There we go. Yay. Now, some of you might be remembering your math that like 0 and 360 are the same. But I always want to add that 360 on top of itself so it doesn't have a little snap. Sometimes, depending on the renderer, it'll snap back to a 0 before it starts again. So 360 plus another 360 is 720. So we're going to add a 720 to this. Whoop. And then 720 to this. Whoop. And there we've got it rotating twice in 10 seconds. Not bad, not a bad speed. Ew. Does anybody remember why it's doing that? Yeah, that S curve. So right here, we could just right click and say linear. Linear. This one doesn't really have a curve on it, so linear, but won't change anything. Save. Close. Oh dear. Oh no. Poor K. Fantastic. I love that this is happening. Okay. I wonder why that happened. No, it's not. It's not finding it. Doesn't do that. Animated just fine before. Let's try that again. Oh, I know why. Because I only did it to the one controller. Ha ha ha. Linear. But I also want to do it to you. Now, if you're a little bit slicker than me, you won't have two pieces on a single asset, and this won't be a problem. But, now you know that happens when you have multiple pieces. That's okay too. All right, let's test it. Ah, it's nice and tight. Look at that go. That's beautiful. Now, the reason I actually picked two rotations is because Unreal has a little bit of a warm up and it might have a little bit of a chunky cutoff. And what I really want to do is find that 360 in the middle. And that's the one that I'm going to loop later, right? So I give myself at least 2 whole revolutions at a minimum, Now, okay, let's do a little render. Let's pretend this is beautiful work. Go to the clicker clacker. Video sequence is great. PNGs are also fine, but I'll use an AVI here. I don't have any audio. Pick a nice, decently high resolution. The 2K is like a minimum. Don't go less than 2K. 4K is cool, but I also want to be mindful that sometimes our laptops like chug a lug at this point, and if you absolutely have to, you can go down to 2K. And also make sure that your stuff is going somewhere that you will find it. Controller demo. Video renders. Go. Go. Capture movie. Save it all. If I had more time, I would go into like really getting into the weeds of making the background something that I really enjoyed, like blurring it or making it a different color or whatever. But really, that's a play space for you. It's not really important that the background is something specific, but I actually think that in most cases, backgrounds like this should lack context. We're just showcasing the prop, right? Unless it's the game itself, in which case it's perfect, right? That's not the game though, right? No, no. But notice how the answer about whether or not you render that image should be an intentional one, right? If it's your game, if it's your brand, if it's the visuals you're going for, render that background. If it's just something for lighting, blur it, remove that context, separate it from your prop. Both are totally legitimate answers. All right. Okay. Almost done. Don't worry, guys. I'm almost done. Okay. Now we're going to apply the other one. Just pop that out. We're going to go to the material. Whoop. We're just gonna pump you right in. There. Do it again. Easy breezy. Oh, that warm up. Yuck. Next up, we're going to take those files that we just pumped out and we're going to drop them into our video editor of your choice. I'm going to show you Premiere Pro because it's the most approachable. It's the easiest, breeziest compared to, say, like After Effects. But if you like After Effects, go for it. There's lots of capture software out there that's free. Anything we can do to just sidestep a little Adobe product, I completely support this. But I'll say though that like whatever tool you use, the premise is the same. Like what we're gonna do. Basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keyframe some opacity and just blend from one render to another. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. So let's go to new project. I'm gonna call this prop render, whatever. Save it somewhere you'll find it. Always save it somewhere you'll find it. Premiere project. There. And also, oh, we do also want to check to make sure that it rendered out okay. Let's go find it again. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty. Pretty. Check the other one. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't love that it's not done, but yeah, it'll still work. Template, we don't need to worry about any of these. Social media template might be helpful. Yeah, we don't need to worry about any of these. This is fine. Okay, now what we're gonna do, gonna go to oh right, I need to make the windows open. That's what I need. File, import settings. Everything looks so different. Edit, there we go. Click edit. Ugh, it's trying to help you import. I like to click and drag my stuff in. That's always how I've been. So that borked me a little bit. We were on import, and what I need is edit. Okay. So let's go find those videos. There they are. Now, the way Premiere Pro works anyway is that it doesn't actually bring your files into the project like physically the way we're used to with 3D and 2D images and files like that. What it does is it links them to their location and then just renders them through the video port. So when you move them in, don't like later on in the back end start cleaning up your files and moving shit over. Yes, exactly. What you're afraid of would happen is what would happen. So be mindful that we're not physically moving video files and their whole ass memory storage into the project. That's not how that works here. And you can understand why it wouldn't, because video files, of course, are some of the chunkiest memory files out there. If you've tried to move video edit stuff over, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm just cleaning and drag those right on over to my prop render project here. And we still don't really have anything, and I'm a click and draggy kind of girl, so I'm gonna do it again. Just click and drag it on over to the timeline. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, making it easy for me. Now, this is probably actually where I'll properly cut it to about from here to here, or maybe if I wanted to be really, really like clever, I'll find where it would seamlessly continue to rotate. But I'm not going to go quite that far today because I think with what I'm about to show you next, you'll have everything you really need to get through, and I can also like let you guys go a little early. Now, what I want to do though is I want to like render my video and be like, hey, here's my beautiful work. Yeah. And then like right about here, start to like fade in the other video. So I'm gonna also click and drag that here, but it replaced it. Well, that's okay. That's actually okay. We can turn it on or off right here. But what I want to do, what I really want to do, is I want to add a keyframe to this. So I'm gonna double click this. And over on the properties tab, this is where I can start to like add keyframes to stuff that I want to change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 0 first to start, add a keyframe, and then scooch it over a little bit, make it 100. Now, the wider that little window is from when you add a keyframe from 0 opacity to 1 is the more smooth and kind of like gentle that transition happens. If you only have like an on-off like within one frame, it'll just snap in and out. And that's sometimes the vibe people want to do. Like if you have maybe some funky poppy music playing and you want to go pop, 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 and you want to like set up your edits to match the music, that could be kind of cool. But, for now, just to kind of make this feel a little stronger, I'm going to go gentle and I'm going to go kind of slow, right? Hey, not bad. I don't hate that. Again, I just usually kind of scooch it over a little bit. And I want to see, if I double click this, where's my other window? This is driving me absolutely crazy. Can I close this? Close that panel, gross. There is another window that shows me the like scrub on that, and that's what I want to see. Effects controls. There we go. Effects controls. That's what we're looking for. I found it under window. I found that with most of these softwares, whenever you're missing a tab, the name of that tab is listed under window, and that's where you find it. That's how I knew, and I didn't actually know for sure that's where it would be, but that's what my brain did. So under effects controls, this here is where you can zoom in a little bit and actually like, if you want this to be a tighter transition, scooch it over. And here, let's do a little test. Faster. Can I zoom in even closer? Like practically. Even closer. Ah. Yep. See what's happening? It's just basically that timeline. Okay. Now, let's say you're like, oh my gosh, this Premiere Pro tool is pretty cool because there's lots of stuff you can do. You can start to fade in and out text really easily. You can animate them coming in. And you can also find free stinger animations that would help you transition from one shot to the next. Those are actually really well documented and not hard at all to follow through if you find a decent tutorial. This is a great space to play in that, by the way. But since this isn't a video editing class, that's not a learning outcome. What I do want to show you is how we can quickly just kind of pop this out so that you could start to put it into either another edit with other things that you've strung along, another clip, or right up to your portfolio. So what you want to do is you want to, save your project. Save. Then we're going to go to export media. And yes, you can export it directly out of Premiere Pro, but Premiere Pro's encoding process is not very good. So what would normally take maybe 10 minutes might take 20 if you do it directly out of there. So rather than Adobe fixing it in Premiere Pro, they just made an external product called the Media Encoder, which you can send any edits to directly, and it is its own sort of video encoder renderer. So it usually makes it a little bit faster. It's part of the suite. If you have Premiere Pro, you have the encoder. Just make sure both are installed. These are installed on all these machines, by the way. Okay, so there it is. There it is. This is where we can actually do a little bit more like rendering considerations. If we want to change the file type or the resolution or anything like that, we can do it here. We could also adjust with like audio settings as well, but we don't have audio here, so we're not gonna worry about that. But once you've, browsed and perused and found like your setting fine, this is actually good for me, we could just hit play, and then it's gonna go render it. Depending on how high the resolution in your processor and how long your video actually is. My video is only, what, 10 seconds? 10 seconds. It might take 15 seconds to render. But also, if you've got lots of stuff happening, flashy graphics, these things can also pump up the rendering time. So maybe a 15-minute video might take 30 minutes to render. And so it just kind of depends on those settings. Okay, so now we're just gonna go ahead and check it out. Go to the file location, please, and give it a little test. Yay! And that's how you can do it. Some of this can be rendered in Unreal directly if you want to. Unreal can support it. It'll take a bit longer. You basically have to like prop it up and set the keyframe when to switch a material, and that's a whole thing. And it's like Unreal can do it, but the tools that have been doing it for years are going to be a lot faster. Okay, cool. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to give you the rest of class to use as you want, how you want. I'm going to take attendance, and then I'll see you tomorrow, I suppose. Please let me know if you have any questions, okay? Thank you for your attention. I know that was hard. What time tomorrow again? Good question. The officially starts from 4 to 6, so you absolutely have to be there from 4 to 6. But I'll be there as early as 3 o'clock, and coffee and drinks get started at 3:30. So my recommendation is if you have a little bit extra tech, like let's say you want to show a little bit more portfolio work or artwork, any work really you want to show, come as early as you need to set those things up. So if you have a laptop or a monitor or you want to get Gigi, then maybe 3:30. But you have to be there and ready to go by 4 o'clock. Okay, good question. Okay, let me stop the recording. And then we'll call it. Yeah.